ready to fill your caseload with a thriving practice this year?
If you don't know us, I'm Kelly Higdon.
And I'm Miranda Palmer.
We are two therapists who have been doing this collectively for over 20 years together, apart and together. And if you've never been to a training with us before, we just want you to know that this is very interactive. Have a pen and paper next to you to write out your thoughts. But we are obsessed with helping other therapists build their lives and businesses. We don't believe that they should be separated. Mm-hmm. We think there's a very holistic approach to how you do business as a clinician.
If you actually want to feel joy. And that's the dream, right? We want a full practice, seeing clients, doing the work you love, and enjoying life. And that's our purpose. Right? When we talk about filling your caseload, we're talking about so much more, not just the full practice, not just seeing great clients, but doing the work you love and enjoying your life.
Enjoying it.
Right? It's the big picture of business and life, dancing together in harmony.
All right, let's hear from you. Are you wanting to fill your practice without the burnout, with more ease and joy? Today, you're going to be making a few key decisions that can truly change everything about your life and your practice. Look at all these. Yay. Wonderful.
Also, you're going to stick around for the end. Who wants to win an Etsy gift card? We're done with Amazon. And a free lifetime entry to the business school for a therapist. Who wants to win business school? Who wants to win Etsy gift card? Today, we're going to be doing 40 minutes of training. Like 40 minutes of solid training. And that's about how much your brain can take in and really create a plan of action. We're going to do 30 minutes of Q&A and giveaways, and we're going to give you 20 minutes of options if you need more support, if you want some done with you, because we know that right now there's so many of us that get into a place of feeling a lot of like frustration that like, hey, I'm getting this information, but I'm having trouble actually implementing it. We want you to come with an actionable plan. Some of you guys will want to make some more done with you stuff. We'll give you some options for that, but it's going to be really juicy, lots of good actionable data, lots of Q&A and giveaways, and then some options as well. Okay.
The truth is you are here. It's because the dream of your full practice isn't happening yet. If you're full, then you're at the wrong training.
Yeah, no, this is not the day.
And this is about really wanting to figure out how to fill your practice and have it be easy. You don't want to be stressing about your caseload. You want to be focused on doing great work, and you want to feel joy on a daily basis at work and at home, and you deserve that. So let's tap in to what it's like when we're in this phase of practice. If you are in a place where you can close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. I'm going to do that with you now. Just taking a breath and getting real still. I want you to take out your left hand. And in this hand, I want you to look at the practice that you have currently. Hold it in your hand. If you have a hard time visualizing, you can pick something up and just sense the touch of something in your hand. But in this left hand, you're holding your practice as it is now. When you look at it, how do you feel in your body? Do you trust it? Does it provide for you? Do you feel confident and clear as you look at it? Is it a relationship that you're really proud of? Does it feel easeful? Does it feel joyful? What does it really feel like to look at where you're at right now? The work you're doing, and how it feels to be in your life with that business. Just take a moment and breathe that in, feeling where you're at in your body. You then take your right hand out. And in this hand, we're going to place your dream practice. What does that feel like? How does it serve you? How does it serve your clients? Do you feel trusting of it? Do you feel confident? What does it feel like to see it? What you're doing, how clients are transforming? What does it mean for the life that you're creating with this dream practice? Take a breath and tap into what it feels like in your body as you imagine this dream practice. 2 hands. Do you notice the differences? Our goal today is to bring those hands together, to give you some steps to merge that current practice closer into that dream practice. When you're ready, just open your eyes. I want to know what themes or emotions come up for you as you hold the tension between what is and what you want it to be. Right hand feels lighter. Go ahead and share in the chat.
Yeah, I noticed I was doing that even for like, there's so many things that I love about our business. But as I was thinking about what the next place, like I felt the more that I focused on this right hand, it felt so light and my left hand got heavier and heavier.
It's interesting.
And then when you said bring them together, then the left hand started to like rise up to the right
Oh,
hand.
I love that. Yeah,
Which
mine
is
kind of
really-
came together in a prayer position. Someone said that one hand felt like the seed, and the other one felt like a flower in bloom.
Ooh, right?
I love this. Like the chase between right and left is so big. Oh, wow. The chasm, dread and lightness. I think that that is the tension maybe we're not always tapped into that we're carrying. And we need to be kind of aware of that, because when we're in that tension, what do we do with it?
Yeah. I think a lot of things come up. Like we often feel like a lot of shame, which is interesting. Like I was noticing as I was doing the activity with you all, because I hadn't done the activity yet, because this was Kelly's activity, that like even to like say afterwards, like, oh, I noticed that I was like, there's a little bit of like, oh, I don't want to admit that there's a part of my business right now, like, because there's so much I love about it that like feels heavy.
Yeah.
Like there's some weird stuff that comes up that can come in. And sometimes it can even turn into this shame of, there's something wrong with me. I'm bad. I'm unworthy. I'm not good enough. Like it really tends to tap into our family of origin stuff, right? That we can't speak out. And then it can lead us, I think, to when we hit those core issues, what's the pattern? What's the old pattern that we do in that thing? Do we panic and start to do all the things, right? Do we start comparing ourselves to other people and feeling less than? Do we just stick our head in the sand? Do we start blaming everybody else that they did something wrong? Do we just start throwing money at the problem? Like if you were to look at what you do in your marketing and look at the theme and see what that theme, how that might relate to your family of origin and how you coped with stress as a kid, you might find some like alignment, y'all. This is why we talk about business building as being such a personal development practice. We tap into these things. And when we work on them, even in our marketing, it transforms us personally in all the other areas of our life. So I just want to, if marketing is a lot of mirroring, if marketing feels really hard, if it feels like it stirs up a lot for you, you are not alone. If it feels like it should be simple and like I've read the blogs or I've done the checklist, but like something's still missing in here, I can't figure out what the chasm is between here and there. This may be part of that chasm, y'all. Okay.
And that's what I'm kind of hoping, you can go to the next slide, is that chasm gets bridged by a plan. I think what can happen is, instead of, yes, okay, we have the shame or whatever, instead, what if we got curious and just said, how do I get from here to here? Like what are just some steps? And I do feel like one of the keys of getting you from what's going on now to the practice that you really want is a plan, a marketing plan. I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but that's what we're focusing on today. Because too often there's a lack of trust or confidence in our business. And that comes from the lack of a plan. It's a relationship, you and your business, right? That's how you're saying the family origin and the mirroring. You're mirroring that in the relationship with your business. And so if you don't trust it, how is it going to, if you are hesitant, if you imagine that energetically, like you're holding back, why is your business going to flourish for you? You know, you have to show up and have a plan in place and stop like random acts of marketing, right? Stop the randomness. So that's what we want to help you with today.
Slow down and be intentional, and not just create just a random plan that we get from the internet, one that actually makes sense, that's easeful and effective for you, right? This isn't about like, oh, should I be on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, or should I do Pinterest ads? Like, this is about like, you know, or like, oh, should I start lip syncing to videos online, and that's going to transform everything for me? It's really like, let's pause and start to dive into what are these steps. And the first thing that we need to do is actually create some time, right?
When we make time, we're saying, I value this.
How many of you are in a place of saying, I've got 5 or more, sessions per week? Are you spending 5 hours of like planned full time of marketing your practice? Or are you spending 5 hours stressing about those 5 hours, right? Like, what is the thing that's actually there? And so I think it's like, let's really start to look at like, let's get out the calendar and start to put in the time and say, this is the time that I'm going to actually do specific activities to allow me and my practice to be seen, to put energy, real energy and joy back into my practice, not stress, not tension, not weight, not heaviness, but we're going to go into this place. And if you have 10 open slots this week, right? What a great opportunity to nurture your business in those 10 hours a week, right? But I think, again, often we don't hold that time sacred like we did. If you had 10 sessions a week, you would show up for every 10 sessions. But when you don't have 10 sessions, how many of us just go like, show of hands. Let's see it, y'all. How many of you like blow off the marketing time?
I mean, your marketing is really how you nurture your business. If we're talking about that relationship again, it's like how you take your business out on a date and you communicate with it, right? So in your return, the business gives back to you clients. And that is a good, healthy relationship. I show up for my business shows up for me. And that's why we need to use that time consistently and treat it just like, it's an appointment with yourself. If you show up for your appointments with your clients, you can show up for yourself.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. There we go. All right. So let's talk about some essentials, right? Before you get started, before you're going out into the world, we need to do a couple of things. We need to get clarity on what you actually offer, have a really compelling transformational marketing message, a website that can easily be found, and some key relationships. Now, the problem is, right? That is easier said than done. Even that sharing what we offer, right? That is something that it seems so easy on the surface, but have you ever had the experience of sitting down to Site Today or to like a blank website page and like at the same time having like 10,000 words in your head and 0 words in your head and having no idea like what to write down, or even worse, writing down what you think is like the perfect transformational marketing message, and then suddenly the phones aren't ringing? And or they're ringing with people that like are not your ideal client and that you're feeling really heavy with working with. And so you're in this place of feeling like, what am I doing wrong? And that's really normal because grad school taught us to use jargon and to write research papers that made our professors happy. It didn't teach us how to write in a way that connected with the people we'd actually be working with, which is kind of insane when you think about it.
Right.
It's not right.
So let's talk about some of these essentials, since we are talking about filling your caseload, some essentials before you get to the plan. You've got to understand your offer. What is it that you're offering? What kind of therapy? Is there a format to it? Is there an experience of working with you? How is this different than other forms of healing? One of the, we talk a lot in some of our other trainings about how coaching is on the rise, and it's simply because they don't have some of this systemic jargon that we were raised with, and they kind of just know what they're offering. That's often the difference in successful marketing. So clarity on who you are and what makes you unique is really important here.
So we're going to talk about a concrete example, right? So Joanne Kim, she used to see anybody and everybody that was assigned to her, right? Like most of us get started working in group practices, all of that. And then she started her private practice and started to clarify her magic. And we want you to really listen to how she describes therapy with her, right? And this is taken directly from her website, like as of yesterday. How does therapy work? A heads up, I'm not the typical talk therapist. I'm not interested in you sitting in the couch with me for years. I want you to jump all in, do the hard work, heal well, and get on with living your full life. It's about damn time you took care of your needs and dreams too. Instead of putting out fires, I want to find out and deal with what's causing them in the first place. Once all the dust is settled, we'll get to repairing what's broken, and then even dream about all you want to see happen in your life. Then we'll get to planning and building so that you can actually enjoy what you've created. Weekly 50-minute sessions for 40-ish weeks, so we build and work off of good momentum. Using the Enneagram to discover your pattern of thinking, feeling, and doing that creates those powerful and rigid knots in your life and relationships. Using brain spotting to massage out more stubborn, trauma-based knots that you can't just work out by yourself. Making incremental but lasting change to how you live and create new muscle memory. Finding relief and gaining access to your whole being so you can live and love well in ways both you and your loved ones need.
Dang. She knows how she works. Do you? Do you know how you work? Do you see people weekly? Do you see them every other week? Do you let them just like do whatever the hell they want? Or do you really know how to get great outcomes? She knows how to do that. She knows how long it takes. She knows what the commitment looks like. How'd she find that out? Was by tracking some of those outcomes. She's attuned. She listened intently to feedback. She tracked her stats. She focused on getting better and better over time. And that allowed her to speak with confidence about how she works. And so often that's a really big piece of what's missing to what we offer. We're not clear about therapy. And then when we're not clear about how therapy works, everyone fills in the blank with what they saw on TV. And
I think it's because we were not given permission to.
Sure.
Like we were, taught, evidence-based approach, manualized approaches that sometimes do not work. And so we're actually taught to feel shame if we go outside of the box. So our website can't go outside of the box. It can't go into this other place. We were not taught how to do outcomes work. If we were doing outcomes work, it was something that was like almost like a punishment, that it was like one more thing on top of a caseload of like 100 people, right? And what was great about Joanne is that she came into business school with us as a pre-licensed person, and we gave her permission and we gave her the tools, and we said, this is what really good therapy works like. This is research that says good therapy is attuned and it does outcomes. And then she, over time, like we've seen this message happen over the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's not what it was a year ago.
No,
it keeps growing and changing.
It's beautiful, right? And what does that really mean in terms of her practice and her marketing? It means she's full. Did you have any question whether she was full from that message, right? I saw people like, damn, I'm in. Like, yes, this is what I want. She has a waiting list. It means she's paid off her student loans. It means she's saving for a house. It means that she was able to create a course that really meets the needs of her ideal clients. And that allows her to help those people that are sitting on the waiting list, waiting and hoping to get a slot in, and that she's able to help people in a deep way.
If you take anything, know that you've got to honor who you are. working with you is the offer here. You know, you are so much more than this jargon we hear of like, I hold space. I'm not judgmental. Those are like the bare minimum. I hope we are all empathic and that we have safe spaces and that we're professional and knowledgeable, right? We all have that. Okay. But you do so much more than that. You're facilitating transgenerational healing. The way you show up in the room is so unique. The way Miranda and I are here today, uniquely ourselves.
Yeah.
There's no one else that does it like we do it. You know, your style is your own. And the way you attune cannot be replicated. You are a human being in a relationship. That's not copying. You can't copy it. And you bring your personality. So I'm hoping you're hearing that the offer is you. And it's so unique that you can't take from other people because it has to come from within you.
And I think when you don't know what the offer is and who you are, like, it's really hard to create a marketing plan that really makes sense for you.
Yeah.
It's really hard to convey something. You could have, 10,000 people see your message and then feel like there's something wrong with me. But that you on the page is basically just like a nothing. It's just 3 stacked rocks saying that you do evidence-based,
no more
strength-based, things or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So what do clients say about what it's like to work with you? Like, we want to hear in the chat. And if you haven't had the experience of asking that question, we want you to know that you asking that question is not an ego thing, right? This is not a marketing question. This is actually a clinical outcomes question to find out what is it like in the room, what's working and what's not working, for you to be able to ask that question and hear the feedback and your client to feel safe to do that. That's a part of what makes people like amazing. That asking for feedback and receiving 67% increase in effectiveness, right? In research, just by asking the question.
I think this is Karen Carlson. She just sent it to us, but she said they say that they appreciate that I take an active role in the work. Oops, it went past, but I feel a sense of calm while talking with you. Okay, Karen's. That I take an active role in the work and not just sit back and listen, that I set clear, manageable goals. Susan, I feel a sense of calm when talking to you. Clients say, you taught me that I can be with my emotions. I have one who tells me that their friends, I'm mean because I make them think. The mean is hilarious to me since my grad school cohort always said I was so sweet. I love that. I make their behaviors make sense and make it possible to change. It's a safe place for faith-based folks. That's important, right? So many, you really see all of me. This is the stuff that you need to be aware of. This is what you're offering. Hold on to this.
Yeah.
This is your offer.
Yeah.
How beautiful. Oh, I love reading all of these.
Keep sharing. We'll read all of them afterwards too. Like, no, we always do that with the chat stuff, right? So that next step is that we have to take what that offer is and figure out how to put it into a compelling message, right? One that can be easily understood, that somebody who is, again, that layperson, that they read it and go, oh, you get me. You just described what I was experiencing last night. You were a fly on the wall. You get me. And you know what? Because you get me so deeply in this marketing message, I now feel hope that things can shift. I feel hope that
You're not alone.
I'm not alone, and that you can help me, because you know what? There's just the fact that you said how I'm feeling makes me feel like you get it and you can help. Because why would you call that out and then like bring me in just to make me feel miserable? Like, that's not what happens.
It's interesting because I have a family member who's looking for a therapist, and they asked me to look through some Psych Today profiles and Therapy Den profiles. And I will tell you, only 2 people had a unique message. Everybody else said pretty much the same thing. And I was just like, so crushed. And this whole thing about a compelling message, we've done full trainings on it. So we're just skimming the surface to give you some inspiration, some clarity for you to make a check mark of like, oh, I need to go back and refine that.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron Bennett's is one of the examples, and I'm going to read it to you, of a compelling message. Okay. Your kid is a great little human, but some days the things that they do, say, and experience are so intense, and you are at a loss of what they need or how to respond. Your kid is creating chaos in the home, and you just need some peace and reassurance that it won't always be this hard. My name is Erin, and I'm a registered play therapist in Denver, Colorado. And I'm an expert in all things kids. I can help you finally get to the bottom of what your unique child needs to thrive, experience joy, and be healthy. As a child therapist, I know that children will work towards healing when given support and some guidance. As a play therapist, I support children as they explore challenges, learn new skills, and become emotionally empowered through creative, expressive, dramatic, and recreational play. I partner with you during parent feedback and parent consultation sessions by linking what your child is working on during their sessions to practical information and strategies that you can use at home, providing the child with support in session, linking to support outside of session will get to the bottom of your child's needs so you and your family can feel confident, able to regulate their emotions and be in flow. Contact me today to get help moving you and your child from challenge to connection.
Do you have clarity about what she does and who she helps and what it would be like to take your child in? Do you know what it would be like? Would you be meeting with her, right?
Yeah.
As the parent, would you
know what to
know
expect.
what to work on? And would you have clarity as to where she's at? Do you guys recall? She's in Denver, Colorado. It's clear in her website, even in her compelling message. And that moves us right into step 3 is a findable website. Your website is the hub of information about your practice. It gives you a place to let Google know what you do and where you're at. And it gives clients a place to get the information and start the process of informed consent, start the process of understanding what therapy looks like. Kelly mentioned it earlier about like a lot of people get an idea of what therapy is from like watching movies and television shows.
Dear
and
Lord.
How often do we get an accurate viewpoint? Like not very often. You know, TV and movies tell us that we have sex with our clients on a regular basis, right?
Yes.
Psychotherapy memes. They did a meme the other day that was like, good morning to everyone except the screenwriters that have therapists have sex with their clients. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like it drives me absolutely bonkers, right? This website is a place, like we think often as our office is the hub of everything, but in this day and age, your website is the first place where somebody's going to have access to you.
Or they make that first connection.
Yeah.
And you got to be findable.
Yeah.
And then another essential here is the key relationships. All of you, whether you're starting out or you've been doing this for a long time and you're trying to fill your caseload, you have people in your life that already like and trust you and know you. We are pros at relationships as therapists. We know how to do relationships. I'm not saying we're perfect. We have messes too, but we know how to connect with other human beings. We know how to communicate well. And that is an advantage. You are at an advantage for being a therapist and being a business owner. And so you want to look at the relationships you already have in your life, connect with them and really see who they know and they can connect with you, but know that you are not starting with nothing or starting from scratch. You have relationships and you want to start using those to help you build your practice.
Yeah. Now, a lot of you are saying like, yeah, I feel like I've done these things, or maybe they're like, maybe I've sort of done them because you've heard these compelling messages and you're like, I don't do that. But a lot of us have this marketing that fails, right? And it's really frustrating. Most of the time, what's happening is that we're trying to speak to everyone. And when we try to speak to everyone, we speak to no one. I always think of these websites where people are trying to be really general. I love that Kelly picked this image where it's a person like speaking to a group, because I always think of those people going up to the front of like 100 people and saying like, hi, like, hi, my name's Miranda. I work with kids and adults and teens and children's and couples. I work with people who are, this and depressed and anxious and OCD. Like if somebody was to just literally sit down and like list out all the things that you could possibly do as a therapist for 20 minutes, that doesn't feel good. right? Versus looking at the group of people in front of you and saying, I'm speaking to a group of moms right now. So I'm going to talk about what moms need and say, hi, moms, or I'm speaking to a group of business owners or entrepreneurs. Hey, entrepreneurs. And I'm going to share a couple of key things that the people in that audience can say, oh my gosh. And it's what we naturally do when we're talking to people, right? We naturally are going to share more about what we do to the person that's right in front of us.
When we know what
they need.
Yeah.
And so this is why we have like these niched specialty pages, even if you can have more than one niche, that's fine. But we need to have something on our website for these different niches we want to work with that really speaks as if the person is in front of us.
Yes.
Right? It's so different.
So how do you niche? Let's tap into that a little bit. I'll let you lead this one.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and close those eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. Right? And first, I want you to notice one of those clients that just, I don't know, it feels like you're spinning your wheels. You feel like you're working really hard, maybe harder than the client. It feels like maybe there's a little progress, but like when you see their name on the schedule, like you feel it in your body. When they cancel or reschedule, you feel that sense of like relief. You keep hoping that they're going to like quit therapy, but they just keep coming back. I want you to notice what it's like if you were to think about having 2 or 3 of those people on your schedule in a day. If you had 10 of those people on your schedule in a week. If you had 20. If every day, all day, was those clients. I want you to think about what it's like to think about marketing and having more of those clients calling you, excited to schedule with you. When your intuition says, oh, this reminds me of this other person. Imagine spending time networking and getting more of these referrals. What happens in your body? What happens in your mind? I want you to let that go. Take a nice deep breath in, and let's just blow that vision away. We don't want that. And let's bring up one of your favorite clients. It doesn't even necessarily have to be an easy client, but it's one of those clients where like things are in flow. It feels energizing. You feel delighted when you see that person on your schedule. You can see that like things are progressing, even if it's like been hard fought, but like, oh man, wow, it feels like magic. Like you feel it in your body. Notice where you feel it in your body when you think about this client, when you think about seeing them across the room from you. Now imagine if you had 3 of those clients in a row on a day. If you had 10 of those clients in a week. If every client in your practice made you feel that way 90% of the time. And think about what it would be like to get a call from a client like that. To write up a homework assignment and put it on your website as a blog for those clients so that you can easily reference that. And that blog reached out and like really spoke to more clients like that. When you think about talking to those clients, doctors, and getting more referrals, being known for the person who does this kind of work, being able to go and do a consultation session and have an insight that unlocks the next level of your clinical work with most of your clients, to keep just honing your skill, so that you can move from good to better to excellent to exemplary over time. Notice where you feel that in your body. Notice your energy level. Breathe that in and open your eyes. What do you notice? What was that like? That tension? Again, we're comparing these two groups because I think there is this, as we talk about niching, we often feel this like shame or this discomfort of like pulling away from like the general clients. But to talk about like, what does this really mean to have a message that really calls in the people that we do our best work with and that doesn't call in these others? And how does that impact our energy and the time we actually spend marketing? I think a lot of you are going to say, oh my gosh, I didn't like, this is the reason that I'm actually not taking action. I'm not actually marketing, is because it doesn't feel good in my body to bring more of what I have. Now, some of you are here, and I think it's interesting. Somebody said, like, where do I get 10 sessions a week? Like, I don't have time. Like, maybe you're already full. Some of you might be here and full and here because you're saying, you know what, I'm full, but I'm not happy. These are not my ideal clients. This is not my ideal practice. This is not my ideal life. And I want to create something where I really enjoy the clients that are coming in.
Shackles around ankles to warmth in my heart, stomach to joy.
Stomach ache, like that. They went from like having a stomach ache to feeling the joy at the joy rally. And I was so happy.
Hey, we're doing what we said we would.
Feeling like throwing up versus feelings of joy and bright light. Right? Feeling like throwing up. Who wants to market out of feeling like throwing up? Nobody wants to do that, right? Moving into calmness, so energizing and so spacious inside of me. Relief, right?
Well, we do want to talk though about why do people avoid niching, and that often is, oh, it's going to be too narrow. Then I'll see only if I'm niche to couples, I'm only ever going to work with couples, and then nobody else will want to call me. Not true. Your clients will be referring their friends and family to you, and you will still have diversity. But yeah, there are sometimes niches can be too narrow. That's something we help in business school to research to make sure that your niche exists. But oftentimes it's not the case. Yeah. There's also this feeling of like, I'm going to reject people. But really what you're doing is you're helping people find the right therapist. And if you're not the right therapist, you're saving them time. You're being of service and helping them better discern a good fit. It's not rejection. It's actually support and education. And
this is the thing, like, I love working with domestic violence, domestic violence. Most people don't. And so I would rather someone who doesn't like doing that have that copy in a way that somebody doesn't feel called in. I'd rather call the person in. Right? Like, realize that even though you might feel like, well, no one else is going to do it if I don't, there's someone out there. We are all uniquely built.
Yeah. The other thought of I'm going to be bored. Well, I don't want to just do this forever. First of all, this is just to whatever you're doing this quarter. And in our business school, we talk about working in quarters, like 3 months at a time. Like you need 3 months to really get some traction on your marketing, but you're never limited. You can always shift. And then the other thing that's not a myth at all, and I think why people don't niche, is because the niche is them. It feels so close to home. It's very vulnerable. And if they're speaking to somebody else, they sometimes are afraid it's going to feel like they're speaking to them.
Yeah. It'd be scary. And the truth is, tapping into your passion leads to more referrals and a full practice with better clinical outcomes. You're going to be able to sustain this work. You're going to have clients have a better experience in therapy, and it's going to impact our profession as a whole. Right?
So as you're trying to think about where should I niche, I see some business schoolers in here already like, I already know my niche, which is awesome.
Yeah.
These are some things some questions you can answer, come back to when you watch the recording of why you went into this work, where you've had the most profound work, where it's felt effortless. What do you love doing? Where do you get great clinical outcomes? Focusing on answering some of these questions can help guide you towards finding the right fit for you. And you can try it on and then
Yeah.
know, like, if you were like, whoa, why did I niche here? Then you can pivot.
Yeah, you can change. It's okay.
And you might be in here being like, well, I thought we were going to talk about how to blog and network and all of those things.
And you can do all of that, but without understanding this core, it won't matter how many ads, how many blogs, how much networking, how much speaking, like it's going to be kind of like dust in the wind, right? Your unique marketing plan is this intersection between where your clients are, and you have to know who they are to know how you best communicate and how your clients best hear and receive information, right? So your niche, you have to know where your clients are and how they take it in for, like, what does that really look like? Where are they? Let's dig into that. Is it a soccer mom? Is it the entrepreneur? Where does your niche hang out online and in person? Who does your niche talk to about their problems? And what other services does your niche seek out? Right? That's going to give you that first little piece of the pie.
Then you're looking at how they take in information and make decisions. So that's looking at what kind of information do they need to know? I know that my really anxious clients, I have someone I coach that works in OCD. Those clients need a lot of details in order to make a decision versus someone who does more crisis trauma work. It's more of like pain, like connecting with the pain, but less information heavy. They don't have the mental resource to take it all in.
Yeah.
And then also thinking about how do they take in information, giving them variety, written, video, audio. There's lots of ways to communicate here. And where do they seek that information? Some people maybe I Google, I Yelp it. Other people may be going to professionals or mentors, their faith leaders, all sorts of different kind of people that are going to give them the referral.
And then ultimately, right, there are so many ways to market, y'all, right now. And you don't have to do something that doesn't fit with you. How do you best communicate? Is it, I'm more of a writing person.
Yeah.
Kelly is more of a video person.
Yeah.
Right. And we both do a little bit of the other, but we also lean into our strengths a lot. So let's look at, how do you best communicate? What kind of information do you provide over and over again? What do you really enjoy?
Yeah.
Let's make it easy, especially at the beginning. It's okay to like stretch your wings and try new things on for size, like do that over time, but let's start from a place of strength, right? And ultimately asking yourself, what do you most want to communicate to your clients? What do they most need to hear from you?
And you can see this is why your niche matters, because it's going to depend on the person and that intersection of you and them moving forward. And once you have that intersection clear, then you can move forward with how to do the thing. So let's talk about that real quick. Doing the thing, a solid marketing approach, right? Doing it. I'm going to do marketing. It's really, I think I talk about this a lot in business school, how it's like a table with 4 legs. You want all those legs touching the ground, giving you stability. Because too often, Miranda and I have seen people who have 1 or 2 table legs that they have really solid. And then something happens with technology, something happens with their capacity or their situation, and one option gets removed away, and then they don't know how to keep filling their caseload. So when you have all 4 table legs on the ground, you're not over relying on one area over the other.
Yeah, I knew I took over the office for a private practice that had been out for a long time, but their only referral source was Kaiser. And when Kaiser pulled contracts, they didn't pivot, and their practice literally just wasted away. Like it went to nothing.
So
right?
First table leg, building referrals.
Yes. Start with who you know. Connect with who they know, right? Let them introduce you to people. People who, we said it before, like, know, and trust you are going to be your first referral sources ever. Reach out to those who already work with your niche and consistently build, we're going to pause here, authentic relationships. This is not about how many business cards or pamphlets.
I made a pamphlet for your doctor's office.
Here's the thing. They're like, here's a pamphlet. They're like, we don't see people in the office, or like, we don't even have a brochure holder. Like, we need to have real conversations and build a relationship where they know that you're someone that they trust. They're not just looking for a referral source, they're looking for a trusted referral source. So if you go to some kind of a networking event, making one solid connection is going to be more powerful than 20 business cards or brochures put out. I mean, and how many of us get so frustrated when people are like, hi, how you doing? And it's like, they're like palming their business card to you. I'm so-and-so, la, 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 la. And then I'm so-and-so, la, la, la. And then we compare ourselves and say we're bad networkers or marketers when it's like, no, we're not. We're just, that's not our way. And that's okay.
The other table leg is getting your website to be foundable. Well, if I can't talk, found or findable. Either way, you know what I'm trying to say here. And some of the ways we can do that is blogging with keywords and search terms that your niche is looking for. Again, this is why you need the niche, because someone with anxiety is going to type in different things than someone with postpartum depression, right? Specialty pages on your website that are really clear to that niche. Guest posting on other sites that rank higher than yours can help your website rank. So this is just about being found, that when someone says, gosh, I need a therapist.
I need a play therapist in Denver.
I need a queer therapist in Texas.
Yeah. LGBTQ, plus or what have you. And this is one of the things that we teach therapists all the time in business school, is how to get clear on what people are actually searching for in your area and how to actually use technology to tell you that.
Yeah.
Because it's not something we just naturally know. It's not something you can kind of like make up. But once you unlock that skill and how to find that out, then it makes life a lot easier. And then you're able to clearly communicate with Google what you do.
Then we move away from your actual website and increase different ways that people can find it beyond Google searches. So this is your directory listings. If you choose to do social media, you do not have to do it if you don't want to. Repurposing your blogs for other posts on platforms, Google business listing, and more. There's lots of ways to drive traffic. But when you're looking at your marketing plan, you want to have some plan that, where your website shows up and they click to go there to your hub.
And then finally, what about just allowing yourself to be visible, to really step into who you are as a professional, whether that means speaking, guest writing, guesting on podcasts, writing a book, working with reporters or journalists, doing videos on your websites or directories, maybe even on YouTube. Like, how can we have you really step into your truth? I know this can be very scary for introverts. I'm an ambivert. I don't want to be up speaking every other week or what have you, but realize again, I'm much more the guest writer or the podcast person. Those are things that feel really good to me. And I found ways to step into visibility more over time that feel good and safe for me, and how to balance that energy expansion or that giving off of energy in a way where I'm not spent all the time.
And we've also talked about this in our business school, about how some of it can be scary because of our own. It isn't safe for some people to be visible, especially if you're from marginalized or oppressed communities. And so how do you create safety to be visible? Because you are needed. The fact that you are marginalized is all the more reason we need you more visible, but we got to do that in a way that feels safe for you, so that you can stay grounded and preserve your energy to do the great work that you do. Yeah. So no cookie cutters here.
I know. How many of you, honest, how many of you were hoping for a cookie cutter? You were hoping for just do these 5 things. If you just get on Instagram today,
5 posts on Facebook a day,
you will magically do that, right? And your marketing needs to be uniquely yours. You're going to burn out. One of our business schoolers, Jackie, she loves doing social media. She just gets so stoked on it. She's all about the Instagram, and works well for her. Not
we tested it actually last year. At the end of the year, we did 60 days of Instagram reels. I kind of had fun with it, but then it kind of a little ugh. But I needed enough data to see does this work for us? It doesn't. And it's so weird to be we're not doing that anymore. Yeah. But I'm supposed to do it. No, it doesn't align with us and who our ideal clients are.
Yeah. Now, Robin Brannon is a great example. Robin Brannon has a group practice, and they have done a lot to set up a website that's really engaging to people. They have built really key relationships, really key referral sources. They have shown up to be visible in speaking. And they have worked through all of these different aspects. So they're constantly kind of looking at each of the table legs, and they'll focus sometimes on a different table leg, even in a month. Like, okay, I'm going to work on the website for this table leg. What does that translate into? It translates into things like, hey, they had a website hub. When they were full and didn't have any space, they were taking in potential clients' email address and saying, hey, we're full right now, but if you want to know when we have space, you can get on our newsletter, and on our newsletter, we'll go ahead and we will send out a message when we have space available. They were without space for 3 months. And they were pulling in email addresses during that entire time. So when they hired another clinician and they were able to, fill that, or they had spaces to bring new people on, they sent out one email to that list, And within, what was it?
I don't know, like 2 days. I don't know.
No. It was within 20 minutes. It was dumb, Kelly.
I wasn't there.
Well, yeah. Okay, we're going to call it 2 hours, but it was like ridiculously dumb that they had 16 slots filled. People were this like engaged of here it is. And within 6 weeks, they had filled up 3 new clinicians.
But I think it's really important in this example, this person knows who they serve.
Yes.
They have a very strong kid family practice.
They had compelling messages for the different work that they did. And this was also interesting. When they were going through all of that, they realized, you know what? We're not getting a lot of people connecting in with our adult services. And they went back to their adult page and they said, oh, I didn't ever rewrite this message. It's not a compelling message.
Yeah.
I'm going to test out writing a really compelling message and see what happens in terms of adults getting on that list and starting to pull in. Okay.
So no matter what stage of practice you're in, never going to be a cookie cutter, ever. No. And no matter what your goals, it's going to shift, right? In terms of how your marketing looks, if you're doing a new service, an online course or whatever. So what is your takeaway? We want to hear from you. What are you taking away from here? I saw some of you post, oh, that's a truth bomb. Oh, I like that. Post in the chat. What is your takeaway of what you're going to do differently? Maybe it's, I'm going to look at my calendar and make more time. Maybe it's, I'm going to show up consistently. Hey, I'm going to write a compelling message. I'm going to figure out my niche. Kim's going to write a compelling message. That's awesome. I see focus on my desired niche. Yes. That's awesome.
I need a compelling message. I'm going to take the time. Lots of compelling messages. I'm going to attend business school.
There you go. Like that. Yes. Yeah. So let's recap. We talked about how to align your dreams through a plan, the essentials you must have for your marketing to work for you, the power of niching, how to align your marketing with you and your ideal clients, right? Woo! And I don't know if you know, there's a lot more to go. There's so much more. Just like I said, on the compelling message part, we have like a whole lots of trainings on that. And anyone that's in business school can attest to how much we help work on that compelling message piece.
Yeah. Even in business school, and we know that our process works really well. But ultimately what happens, people will write up their message, then they'll send it to us. We will rewrite and help them massage and give them the confidence that they have to actually post it. Because there's this thing, even if you've gone through, even as a good message without someone to give you some support, it can be really scary to put something so compelling and vulnerable out into the world. It's different.
Right. And just like our training today, what you see is just a part, and there's a whole lot more going on. But that's the case for anybody's business. You can look at somebody else and see them having like a full practice or whatever, but underneath it all is so much more. It's so much more than marketing. It's so much more than the website. There's a lot happening here.
So what if you didn't have to do this all alone? What if you let others help you, right? Figuring out how to do this in a way that really works for you and your practice and your life, because you're normal if you need more support. It's a big deal to create a sustainable business. It's not something that happens overnight where we, go through this process. And I think it keeps us so isolated. We spin around in our heads and we spin around in anxiety. We talked about that 10 hours, I'm marketing 10 hours a week, but really I'm just sitting and panicking 10 hours a week versus actually getting some support and creating something and taking real action, right? Do you want support, right? Are you done doing this alone, trying to guess what will and won't work? Do you want a safe community, experts to help you, not only for this year, but for years to come?
This is really our heart's desire. This is why we exist, why we've been doing this for so long, is we want this to be effortless for you one day. We want you to have joy. I don't feel like being a clinician, that is very challenging work. You take on a lot of emotional content and trauma and things like that. All the more reason we have to fight harder for our joy. We have to like put a stake in the ground and claim it. And we want you to know that your work is meaningful, impactful, and that you have a deep purpose, but you also are deserving of a really, really good life. We are not martyrs. We don't have to be. We don't have to stand in the gap to fix systems that are broken, but we can still be a beacon of light for others while still taking care of ourselves. And that is why we want to talk about the next steps. If you're wanting support, another way that we serve therapists, and we've been doing it for 9 years. I can't believe, well, this program for 9 years. Is through our business school for therapists.
Yeah, it's a hybrid online training program where we personally help you create that full, inspiring, impactful, successful, sustainable business that runs like a well-oiled machine. So you can leave at the end of the day, leave work at work, right? And create a balanced life, right? A balanced life where you can just live, be happy and healed without these unreasonable hours and crazy low pay after you invested tens of thousands or six figures in a degree, thinking that like this is going to just give you some stability. Like you deserve that real return on investment that you went to school with. You went to help people, but most of you thought that you'd be able to just have a sustainable life and like have some like security, and you deserve that.
And we want a business that does all these things for you, that's streamlined, attracts the clients, that changes your community, makes an impact, and is profitable. And it's life-changing also. Get your schedule back. Live your day-to-day with self-respect and confidence. Automate and scale. There's so much, because when you have those things, you have an income that really works for you, freedom to do the work the way you want and live your life the way you want, and control over your future when you can expand and scale and shift as you desire, not based on what other people tell you to do, but based on what works for you.
That's the power of an effective business. Do you want one of those? Let's dig in, right, to how we help you build a practice at the perfect pace for you and a step-by-step, easy manner that just makes sense. We're going to create your business vision, right? Get crystal clear. You may think you have that vision. You write it down and realize, oh, I didn't actually leave space for things like bathroom breaks and getting sleep. I can't actually cook myself meals. And then I feel bad that I did something wrong, when it was really just that I didn't create a vision that actually worked for a real human. Then we dig into the nitty gritty of all the stuff you avoid that ends up stealing your time and joy, or biting you on the butt when you least expect it. Let's reconnect with your joy of making an impact in the field and find ways to understand, describe, replicate, and amplify those magic moments with clients. Then let's stop wasting your time and energy so you can have time for work and personal life, right? You might find you have unrealistic expectations. You thought that, what you thought you needed to do, actually you need another 30 hours a week, but that's okay, because we're going to show you how to outsource, eliminate, and automate to create something that's really balanced. And then you'll learn who and how and when to hire staff to help you so that you're not on your own forever.
The other thing is how to get paid and do it in a way that's sustainable. Yesterday, we did a lot on fees for that training, but we have a whole lot to deal with money. And we're not talking about just like, we have a calculator, all those things, but we also talk about the intersectionality of money, our money stories, capitalism, and all the things that play into our fee, and helping you rid the shame and really figure out what's going to be sustainable for you.
Yeah, no more shame about money, y'all. And we'll maximize your online presence. We'll personally, during those working sessions, be helping you write a compelling message that attracts ideal clients in your business, no matter your niche, your size, or how general your practice is.
Mhm.
You'll optimize each page of your website for maximum conversions from ideal clients, which means more people are going to get helped. And you'll build your website from day one, from the day you'll need a waiting list, and you will. You'll learn how to get found online consistently, know exactly what people are searching for in your area, how to optimize each page on your website so it can be found, how easy it can be once you understand SEO and take the power back into your own hands so you don't get taken advantage of. We see that a lot with therapists investing a lot in things that are really not hard to do yourself. And then you'll learn how to grow, maintain, and scale your practice the easy, sustainable way, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's figure out what you need today. And then how to shift that over time. Like, yes,
Right? It's
maybe
that tension
now.
where I am and where I want to be.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, then you're going to have somewhere else you want to be.
Because maybe it does take you 10 hours a week right now to
Yeah.
set that table foundation, to build the table, but it's not going to take you 10 hours a week to just keep the table like steady, to like maybe like give it a refinish every once a year, or like dust it off.
It gets easier as you do this over and over. And then for those of you who are in business school, you can speak to this, but we do a lot of critiques of your work from us during the working sessions. We review your website design, SEO, marketing analysis, email copy, all these things. I've written more marketing messages than I've cared to imagine during our working sessions. Oh yeah, God knows, they know. But it's a really crucial part of our program to make sure that we're connecting to the heart in our messaging and what we're doing. And what's cool about it is it's all on demand, all of these lessons, no stress. You find what you need, jump around, do what works for you.
Yeah. And you can grab it on your mobile, on your tablet, whatever you need when you need it. Everything that you need for years to come for just $375, 6 payments. Let's make it easy, right? Like, let's really create that, what you need today and what you need for a lifetime, right? 95% of the clinicians surveyed are really happy they joined business school for therapists, and they'd also recommend it to a friend, which therapists do not recommend people spend money lightly. Like, that's just not a thing, y'all. Not a thing at all. And I think it's so hard because sometimes we go out and we start pricing things together a la carte, and we're like, well, I'll just do some business coaching over here. I'll do this low cost and this low cost, and then the SEO and the copywriters and the this and that. But over time, I think the biggest risk is that we end up like missing out on all this lost wages from being underpaid consistently for years and years.
So it's a pretty amazing program, but we also like to always make things better. These are the bonuses that you get. And yesterday we went through them in length, and it could go on and on. But when you go to enroll, you'll see all of them, but over $5,000 in bonuses. This includes CEs. Business school, you get CEs for. It includes blogging templates you can use for your marketing plan, 4 weeks of coaching from me and Miranda, financial advice from a financial advisor, how to get off insurance or perfect the insurances you're on, how to have conversations you need to have, a lot of bonuses in here.
Even a full website template that's been custom designed for us that we have access to literally give you a website template. And then as you are putting these messages in there, we're going in and editing and tweaking and helping you figure out your colors or your branding and all the stuff. Like, we are so done with you hands-on during working sessions. Like, you have no idea, y'all, all the different things. Okay. So again, you're going to get a step-by-step formula that works and that's totally customizable for you. You'll walk through building or rebuilding every aspect of your business, marketing and personal foundation, 8 modules going at your perfect pace. You're going access to 2 weeks of unlimited group coaching sessions twice a year to give you feedback and answer your questions. Plus, you go through exercises that create everything you need as you progress through the course, and we'll provide you with video feedback and critiques during those 4 weeks a year.
I love this quote. It's the best investment I've made on myself and my business. I put it even over my PhD. We take that very seriously.
Yeah.
This is a really big deal to be in business school. So we want to ask, are you ready? Do you want to have a business you love, financial freedom, be a business owner that you're really confident about, burnout proofing your practice? Yes, look at that. So how you would sign up is you can join business school at zynnyme.com/enroll. You could do 6 monthly payments. There's also an option to pay through PayPal and do coverage with them. But we have a few little extras on top of our regular bonuses for this round. So we do have a 7-day money back guarantee. Try it. You don't like it, get out. It's fine with us. We want you to be happy to be in our community. It's it's important to us of what we cultivate. And so
no questions asked. You don't even have to watch any of the videos. You just be like, no, change my mind. We're good.
There's 4 group coaching sessions. They start next Monday. So if you sign up this week, you'll get to start on those and they will be recorded. You can post questions in advance. But here's our biggest one. We have expanded and we have more coaches that work for us now. And if you enroll by the end of this webinar, you get a 1-hour coaching session with one of our coaches. These people know business school like the back of their hand. Eden's in here today, even. So this is an amazing opportunity. This is something really fun that we want to offer you.
Yeah. And again, let's make it easy. It's the only program that teaches the holistic ecosystem of having a successful business and life as part of a lifetime program. And we have different tracks, whether you're starting from scratch, struggling, successful, or group. Let us know, what track are you? Like, what are you really looking for, right? Connie got off all the insurance panels. She transitioned to full cash pay with a smaller caseload and started to finally live a life in balance after living in a place of like burnout. She sent us this beautiful message yesterday. We'll be talking about it next Wednesday, about how her life has changed in such a dramatic way through the process. Melissa was sending me this message on Facebook Messenger about how she and her buddy were talking about, like, we didn't realize, like, we are living out our vision over and over again. Like, we're just in shock that this is our life, right? So now is the time. You can go into that zynnyme.com/enroll. We're going to be jumping into all of these lovely questions from the Q&A that we have here. And we'll definitely, if you have questions about business school, feel free to post those right over in the Q&A section, and we will jump into those. Kelly's going to be taking care of the Q&A part, and we will go from there.
Yeah. Here's a great question. I've been following your work and getting benefit from your free offerings. Thank you. You're welcome, Monica. I'm also a coach and I want to find support for building both. There are differences, and I think your program focuses only on therapy. For example, coaching focuses on providing programs, not charging by the hour. It seems like I need a different program to market my well-being coaching to organizations. Can you speak to this?
Yeah, we actually have whole lessons that are about the difference between counseling or therapy and coaching. And we have had many coaches go through our program and they absolutely love it because it does create that, that clarity between when I'm marketing my therapy, this is what this looks like. This is what it looks like when I'm marketing our coaching. We have also had lots of people come through and do programs, courses, beyond the couch, out of the box. And obviously Kelly and I are doing things that are up beyond the couch and out of the box. So we know that and we live that out. So I would say right now, about 20% of people that are inside of business school are doing things that are beyond the couch, that are coaching related and outside of psychotherapy. Yeah. And we have a few people that don't have advanced degrees. Yes. That come through it, but primarily we have people who have advanced degrees and then they're doing something beyond the couch.
Okay. All right, Sunny, when you do decide on your niche and you start working with a client within your scope, how do you navigate overlapping relationships if the client does refer family or friends? Hopefully that question makes sense. Is it ethical to work with people who have connections to your other clients? This is really again, it's something you have to assess in terms of power differentials and how you work and how you set things up. I have done it before and it's worked out well, and I've done it before and it did not work out well. And
Same.
so, so it really depends on you and the way you work, and how your kind of framework around that. Again, it's whatever is.
But you'll be surprised how sometimes, like, I've had people where I met them in one way, had a referral out, or this is somebody that I worked with, and they'll just say like, oh, you worked with someone like 5 years ago and I want to come and see you now. They don't even tell you who the client is. So you just do that piece. And again, you get to assess that. You get to assess what works for you based on your style. But you know, if you lived in this is the thing, sometimes we talk about dual relationships, like they must all be avoided at all costs. And what it says is we don't use exploitive dual relationships, right? We don't exploit people, and that we understand what those are. But if you lived in a small community, right? Or if you're part of a marginalized community, it's almost impossible to not have overlap.
Yeah.
So what you want to do, if there is a sense of like, oh, I'm working with a community or working with a group where there tends to be a lot of overlap, then that's something that you would also seek consultation in, and get some outside support too, through that process, so you know what it feels like on either side of it.
Yeah. Tawana, I already am started in my private practice, but wanting to know how to fill the slots I have weekly. I was hoping to get full time, but fearful I won't be full. What advice do you have for those clinicians who are part-time and want eventually to go full-time practice? This is a really great question. We talked about it yesterday as well. In business school, we have the financial plan, and it's an Excel document where you plug in numbers and it tells you what your fee needs to be. But there's also a component of that will tell you what the bridge goal is, what you need to be making, how many clients you need to be seeing in order for you to quit your job. Because there is a moment of squeeze.
Yeah.
There is a moment where it's like, you can't grow anymore unless you quit the full-time job.
Yeah.
You know, so we want to show you how to do that.
I think the thing that most people miss is they're like, hey, I need to get up to 20 clients. And then when I get up to the 20 clients, then I'll be able to quit my full-time job. But then they never get past, and it's usually a very specific number. Like they never get past 12, because at that point, energetically, there's no room to grow the business. There's no room to feel good. Their clinical outcomes can start to suffer. People naturally kind of are repelled through that process. And so you can put that number in, like 12 or 10, and then create, well, what is the amount that I need to replicate from my other job at my agency, and use that to set up your fee and what that needs to be as your base fee. What I found really consistently is that if you're trying to bridge, you cannot have a sliding scale.
Yeah.
And you cannot usually do insurance if you need to actually put this away. Now, the other thing that sometimes people will do, and that we'll teach them, is that they'll take all of the private practice income and put that all away.
Yeah.
And use that to create the bridge, the 3 months or 6 months for them to go to that next level.
I think a lot of people they do it based on feeling, which we are all loving intuition, but we also love intuition backed up with facts. And if you don't have like a number that, you know, when you hit that number, that it's good for you to move on, it's going to be hard. So you do need some data to foster that. Otherwise it's going to be scary. It's okay. It's also scary having a job. It's a false illusion that because you have a job, you always have it, you know? So just want to put that out there. All right, Anna, at what stage in your careers did you start private practice? How many years in private practice before you started offering business school? Do either of you still have a practice? Great question.
Yes.
I started my practice, I don't know. I'd been working at a psych hospital, then I moved to the county, and then I was going to quit the county and go to nursing school or med school. And then I decided to try private practice. So it was several years in. And then I had my practice until I sold it. I sold the assets to it. Why does having a child distort your timeline? You can fill them in on my timeline. A few years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's probably 5 years.
5 years ago, I sold the assets to my practice, and we decided to leap in fully to this.
Yes. So I started I got licensed in 2005. I started my practice in 2007. I hadn't even been licensed for 2 years. And what part of that whole thing of me doing private pay was because insurance wasn't even an option, because everyone said, well, you have to be licensed for 2 years before you can get on panels. And so I said, well, I'm just going to give private pay a shot. I had a new child at that point. I had a 3-month-old. And so it was, and I felt really called, like it was a spiritual calling. Like I kind of prayed about it. And this was the message. I was supposed to start this private practice. And so I started the practice, cash pay, got full. It was during the recession, which was a whole nother thing. I was in one of the top 5 worst cities hit by the recession in the country. And it was a beautiful thing. When 7 years ago now, my then husband had a job opportunity, and he'd always really struggled with his career, that moved us to Washington, to Seattle. And at that point, I had already been doing this work, doing consulting and working with Kelly and doing coaching for several years. And so I kind of did the wifely thing of moving into this while doing that. I didn't feel like, as a trauma therapist, I didn't want to do a brick and mortar in Seattle because I didn't know how long I would be there. Mm-hmm. And so that was like the turning point. And I thought it was very interesting when I went through that process. That's a story for another day in terms of what that looked like, because I was absolutely in shock when I felt led to close the practice. Like it was, it was just this like shocking moment of like, is this really, and am I really supposed to trust this? And then we started business school in 2013.
Yes.
Yeah. In 2013.
We had other programs before that, but this has been our long-standing community. So,
and we've had a few thousand therapists go through it. We have hundreds and hundreds of testimonials and case studies of people sharing what that looks like. And I think one of the things that, and then I didn't go back into practice. By the time that I moved back to California, where I was licensed and where I was like stable here, it felt like with what was happening with Zenny and raising a son, like I didn't feel like I had that to do in this other place. And I still, I also taught graduate school. I was a clinical supervisor as well. And I feel like I still end up, anybody who's a business schooler will tell you that we have our clinical chops. we sometimes laugh about the amount of like clinical consultation that we do as part of business school, just because there's just this huge overlap and intersection there. And so, yeah, that's who we are.
That's the answer. Yeah. I have a niche. I'm marketing and networking. It still feels so hard to fill my practice. What do I do next? Thank you. You posted this at the very beginning of the training. So I don't know if hopefully.
I think this is actually probably someone that some of the anonymous attendees are people that posted before the thing.
Okay. But my hope is that through this training, you're seeing that maybe why it feels hard is there time? Is there consistency? And do you have those essentials? If that's the case, then you go into that unique marketing plan and saying, is there a niche? And am I meeting it at the intersection of my strengths and what my client needs? Because I find that usually if it feels hard, one of those factors is missing.
Yeah.
I
have a feeling it's that there's not a compelling message though.
Yeah. How to know when you need to stop taking clients without ditching marketing altogether.
Ooh, I like this one. So in terms of the number, the idea is that the person that you see, the first person, the first time of the week, and the last person, the last time of the week, that they get the same energy, attention, and intention, that your documentation is done with ease, that your billing is up to date, and that everything is in flow. Right now, sometimes there's some organizational things we need to do. Sometimes we need better habits, but often that starts with a sustainable caseload, right? So let's make sure that caseload is really sustainable. And once that is done, then we start to create a marketing plan where we're going to start pulling back on the things that we're doing in terms of the frequency. So for example, if somebody's working to get to the first page of Google and they want to do it like kind of aggressively, I'll recommend weekly blogging on a specific keyword and that people are searching for. Let's be very specific until they get to the first page of Google and or until they're full. So then what they might move back to when they are full is maybe they move to monthly blogs. And then eventually, if that kind of holds, they might even try out every other month or just one blog a quarter and doing that process. But they're also checking in on their business or on their business relationship once a quarter, right? They're saying, hey, let's check in. Where's my ranking? Oh, look, I'm seeing I'm starting to drop. So I don't even worry about like, hey, there's no phone calls. Like I know how to track that. And we teach you how to do that in business school. So then you can go in and kind of like make a tweak. So that's the thing too, that we want you to take ownership of as a business owner is to know what numbers you need to look at. And that might be monthly, that might be quarterly. And you'll also start to get like flow. And over time too, it's kind of fun that you could even start to think like at a client, she's like, oh my gosh, I think there's something wrong because this thing is happening right now in February. And then she looked at her stats and she goes, oh, actually, oddly enough, this exact same thing happened last February. Mm-hmm. So like, then it was like, oh, it's probably, it might just be something transient. So she's kind of giving it a few weeks into March to see if that pattern continues or if that was just a February thing.
Yeah. Tawana had posted elsewhere, can we clarify how pricing works for business school?
Yeah. So we have 6 payments of $375. You pay 375 days to enroll today, and then you'll do 5 more payments of $375. Or you can pay one time the $1,950 and save $300. We have a couple other random payment plans, but you can see them on the enroll page. Now, let's say you're someone who you're like, I'd like a payment plan, but I also like to save the money and I'm trying to like figure that out. We also have, if you scroll to the bottom of the enrollment page, you'll see the information about like the PayPal credit and you can apply. They have 6 months where it's same as credit. Now only use the PayPal one if you know that you have a plan to pay that off in 6 months, because they do those weird things where then they like tack on all the weird stuff. But if you're like in a place of like, oh, I'd like to do it this way, or I'd like to do it over 6 months, but still save the $300, and I know I can do that, that's a great option as well.
How do I convey the worth of private pay sessions? So many still want to use insurance. Is there a way to mention how all the self-help things they have tried, paid for, add up, and still don't let them leave their trauma in the past?
I think there is a way to convey that. And I do believe this on the other side of it. If you have a really compelling message that speaks deeply to someone and you speak with confidence, that person is going to be more likely, whether you, it's called price anchor, whether you like anchor the price and saying like, oh, you spend this much in like impulsive Amazon shopping to try to make yourself feel better. You spend this much on credit cards. Like you can do all of that and it may be true. But I do think that the most compelling message, like for those of you who are enjoying Kim's message earlier, do you think she's a cheap insurance cheap therapist that takes insurance? And she does talk about it. She does do some price anchoring in her website where she says, look, this is how much it is, but like, this is what this would look like if you're spending 3 years in therapy and maybe not even making the progress. So there are some ways to kind of play with that. But I also think that the more that you can sit in the compelling message and the more that you're attracting people who are looking for what you do, you're going to have to do that less.
Yes. And
then again, in terms of the insurance place, and they say, hey, here's the part, we teach our people in the consultation scripts how to have the conversation, say, you know what, let's see who's on your insurance. Here's who I'd recommend. And they end up calling back and saying, you know what, everybody had a wait list, or I just went to someone for 6 months. They didn't even remember who I was. They were literally falling asleep in session. Like, here are all the pieces. Like, those people will circle back because unfortunately, and not always, but in a lot of cases, and especially in specific geographical regions, therapists that are on insurance are really overworked and overburdened and burnt out. And that does impact the clinical care and outcomes.
I love this next question. Working with people who are suffering from loss or can't let go of the past and hurt themselves, are depressed and very anxious, aren't having a good time. It's hard to think of a way to market to them and the general public without sounding depressing. And it seems that to write up content with be your best self or take this course to heal your inner child, learn about the different parts of you. How do you advertise with the sacredness of the work and yet are hopeful sounding? And I think that's something we really do cover. I love this question.
Yeah.
When we talk about compelling message, we call it an authentic transformation proposition. We have a whole formula for it. Joanne's follows that. Erin follows that. It's compelling because what it does is it speaks to the pain of like, you have suffered a lot of loss and it's left you feeling absolutely despondent and hollow, and you moving through the day, and we talk about what the pain is. And I help people who have experienced loss come back to what life is going to look like moving forward. We smudge out some of the darkness. We figure out how to bring some light in, even when it feels absolutely impossible. One of my clients, she always said to me, going through therapy with me was like being in a big, long tunnel. She had decided to leave her partner. And she said, and at the end of the tunnel, when she started therapy, was a pinpoint light. And as she got closer to the end of the tunnel, it was me holding the light and handing it back to her. And that is like, that's what you can say. Like, think about how your clients talk about that transformation of like people who are experiencing loss. This is how I help. So if you're wanting to to stop feeling like a shell of a human, then call, so that's what you kind of tap into. Yeah.
And again, it starts with that pain. We didn't go into Joanne's website because of who her ideal clients are, and they like a lot of content. There's a lot more content where she really describes the pain that people are in. But that's the piece, is that when you describe the pain and put it out there, then it's okay to give them a little hope and to even say, you know what, it's not going to be an overnight fix. You know that, I know that, but it can shift, right? It can shift.
All right, let's do our giveaway. We're at 10:27. Eden, do you want to unmute and announce the winners? Whoop, whoop. Who wants to win? Whoop, whoop.
lots of me. I like it.
Eden.
Oh, Ginny.
Ginny. Hey, Ginny, you want to announce the winners?
Yes. So the gift card, I'm going to butcher her last name, even though she's one of ours. Lisa Roseweiss.
Awesome, Lisa.
Woo, congratulations.
And
that's a gift card.
And then the boot camp, our business school winner. Drum roll. That was lousy, guys. Christine Copley.
Who is it?
Christine Copley, Copley.
Congrats, Christine. We're excited to have you in our community.
Woo-hoo.
Again, the doors close March 18th. We'd love for you to join us. It's an amazing community. Some of our community members have been in here. This is for you if you are a helper and healer who doesn't want to give up on your dreams. You don't want to be part of the worst paid master's degree statistic that we have. We're not talking about magic wands. We don't make guarantees or any of that. That's out of our control. You got to show up, take responsibility, but also take action. We have helped thousands of therapists across the globe. And if you sign up today, right now, you can get the additional bonus of a coaching session, but the final day to enroll is March 18th, and you'll also get all those amazing bonuses. We've got payment plans, PayPal credit. We'd love to have you join.
Oh, goodness gracious. So today, again, we talked about marketing can be easy, y'all. It can be joyful. It can be life-changing and transformational for you and for your ideal client. But we have to get clear. We have to start bridging the gap and creating a plan between those two pieces.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's that magical place. And notice that energy in your body, that lightness in your body when you start to move towards the clients and the plan that really makes sense for you, right? We want to set you up for long-term success. You deserve that. We know that like you have all these questions about marketing, but there are 1,000 other things and decisions that are part of being a business owner. You don't just have a private practice, you have a business, you have a small business with taxes and subpoenas and like all of these different things with Beyond the Couch and with future dreams. And we are there for all of it.
Thank you all for being here today. Yeah, this is our heart's work.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the way we give back, is to teach for all of you. And we hope that you take it and you do something with it, because that's what's going to make an impact for that person who so badly needs you, who is out there hurting and doesn't know you exist yet. They need who you are to be visible to them so that they can transform their life for generations to come.
Yeah. So I think this is this final piece that I want to leave you with. Like, there are, like, if you're just trying to get to, the outlets, you can pull up Google, right? And it's going to show you exactly how to get there turn by turn. But this isn't that. This is not something you can find on a blog. This is not going to have your turn by turn directions out there in a Google map. This is something really personal to you. This is something that is your profession and your life's work and your like passion. It is the way that you take care of your family. It's the return on investment for all that you've done. And this idea that we've come around with, that like I've seen people on Facebook groups saying, well, like, no, I'll always be in debt. I'll never pay off my student loans. Like, that's just not even a possibility. Like, this is just my life. And I think that is really sad. And I don't think that's how it has to be. And that's one of the things that we're so delighted about, like over this last 12 years now that we've been doing Zinni-Me. And definitely since 2013 with the business school, we are seeing the landscape of our profession change. And we can see it directly correlated with the people who've gone through this process. We see them out there creating these Beyond the Couch programs. They are a part of changing the dynamic. They've created these amazing relationships, and they help each other out and refer to each other from across the country, from across the planet. Like, it is just a magical thing. So,
and we're grateful to be a part of it, and to be, if you want us to be more deeply along on your journey, we would love that. Someone asked if they could get coaching from me and Miranda. This is where our focus is in this program. We have another program where we do some more coaching, but
honestly, like, this is the truth. Like, honestly, we have tried to do this program in a one-to-one format. And what we find is that it is the most expensive, longest way to get you taken care of, like, over and over again. When we give people access to what we have in business school, everything speeds up. We can literally like give them the lesson, and then we can go into the advanced, like, what's the next level, versus somebody like kind of taking you through the stuff that they're repeating all the time. It's sort of like the idea if somebody came in and said like, hey, I want to like read this book. I just got How to Do the Work with Dr. Nicole Perla, right? Or LaPura. Like, if someone was like, hey, I just want to come in and pay you hundreds of dollars a session just to like read the book to me, you'd say like, I mean, that seems like not a great use of money. Like, I'd rather you get on Audible and then like, let's talk about the book and let's go to the next level. Like, that's what our focus is. And we have absolutely coached people with and without business school. And we take them to that next level. When they have business school behind them, it makes all the difference in terms of how quickly and effectively and efficiently, and we save them a lot more money. Even if you were to go through, and if you work with any business coach, let's say you were like not even working with like someone like us, like when you look at high level business coaches, they're $300 to like $1,000 an hour. But like a fledgling business coach, someone who like just started their practice and they're like helping other people out, and they're like, I can do that too. They don't even know what they don't know. They'll charge you like $150, 36 hours of coaching, $5,400 for that. And you're probably going to miss a ton of things like, because they don't even know what they don't know. They're just going based on their experience. They haven't worked with literally thousands of therapists in every jurisdiction and almost every continent. We don't have Antarctica yet. Like they don't have it, you know? And I honestly, and I can say this without like shaming them, because when I started out, I didn't know what I didn't know either. I was not a great business coach when I started out 15 years ago. I was a business coach before Kelly and I started working together, before Zinni was ever a thing. And I did it out of this like, oh, like I did this thing, like I can help. And I replicated, and some of the things that I replicated and taught were not good. There were things that were taught to me that I found over time were like not equitable and that were not ethical. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And this process of refining has happened, you know, over 9 years of just business school, plus the 25 years of collective experience we bring beyond that. Like
when we do one-on-one, it's usually with people who've gone through the program, because then they can go even more deeply because they've got the foundation. And so, thank you for asking that question. I appreciate that. Okay, there's a lot more we didn't get to. We've already gone over. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of this community, for the energy. You guys brought it today. Y'all brought it. We were so stoked to have you on here. Congratulations to the winners. We will see you in business school. We hope to see you there tomorrow. We have another training. If there's any other training you attend, come Friday, where we're going to work on burnout and trauma in private practice. It's going to be incredible.
And we're going to be giving away $1,000 cash on that one, which is going to be really fun. So we will see you all there.